Hardest job in college football. You see where I'm coming from in the Auburn standpoint?
I see where you're coming from, but it's not Auburn.
It's not Auburn.
It's not Auburn. Look, for Auburn, first of all, you're in the Southeastern Conference, which that's going to get you in the door of the top 10% recruits in the country anyway.
Done for Vandy.
Plus, you've appeared in 2 national titles and won 1 in the last decade. That's going to get you in the door of, I think, the top 1% of these recruits. And you're in Alabama and sit on the Georgia border. Those are 2 of the best recruiting states in the country. To me, right now, the hardest job in college football is Nebraska. We've been talking about it a lot because those expectations that you're talking about Auburn has, Nebraska still has those. This might have been the best program in the country in the 90s. We're not talking about in the 30s, 40s, or 50s. I mean, in the 90s when we were growing up, 3 national titles that decade, 5 national titles overall, 3 Heisman Trophy winners. They've sold out their home games at Nebraska every single season since 1962. Those expectations are still there. And them not having to play the likes of Alabama and Georgia, I think actually hurts them. Because they're in no man's land now. They're in the Big Ten. They've bounced around, but they've bounced around from the Big 8, then to the Big 12, to the Big 10, and I really think this is the biggest point. When they went to the Big 10, that was the beginning of their demise because that rivalry game with Oklahoma went away. Now, they played last year and they're going to play this year for their anniversary, but they won't play again for another 19 years or something like that. Yeah, something like that. So it's been a decade. It's been a decade since they won 10 games, and it's been half a decade since they appeared in bowl games. And if Scott Frost, a national championship winning quarterback, can't do it there at Nebraska, again, who can? Because the expectations are still as high as they are at a place like Auburn, but they've become more and more irrelevant, even more so than a school like Auburn.
And again, like I said, I can understand there's a bunch of arguments you can make for different places. But to me, and I know and I understand Nebraska is an established brand, but you're in the Big Ten. You are playing a decent schedule. Ohio State's been running through the Big Ten really outside of what Michigan did last year, and there's been spots every now and then where somebody else would jump up, but it's not like you can't make a big move in the Big Ten underneath that top elite tier to give yourself a chance. They just haven't done it. But with Auburn, again, yes, you're sitting in very fertile recruiting territory. Yeah, you've had success, but you are right now, you have Godzilla on one side and King Kong in the other. You're like the building in the city in the middle that they're going to fight on. Right? It would be one thing if Alabama was just your biggest rival. You didn't have to worry about Georgia. But having Alabama and Georgia is like fighting the mega boss of the mega boss, and that's what you're judged on. And look what else is coming up in the SEC. Arkansas is coming up. A&M, we see what they're doing with everything. I'm not going down that road again today. Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Tennessee on the other side. It's just so hard to meet. It's a lot harder to me for Auburn to meet the expectation than Nebraska because Nebraska's schedule, in my opinion, is easier. The road is easier.
But that's my point. I think being sandwiched for Auburn in between those juggernauts like you talked about is actually a good thing for them because Auburn can beat Alabama, and they do almost every other year at Jordan-Hare. Recruits see that. So if you're a kid who's trying to decide, I know Alabama has led in recruiting, for the last decade, but still, a lot of these kids at least get to see you go up against the best teams. They're like, oh, you think Georgia's the best team?
Yeah, but Nebraska plays Ohio State, Cone.
Not every season.
Well, they're in the same. They're in the same conference. I mean, Auburn, doesn't play Florida every season. But Blaine, what do you think?
I don't think either of you are wrong on this, but I can tell you where you are wrong and what the toughest team actually is.
I don't think either one of you are wrong, but let me tell you when you're wrong.
It's Vanderbilt.
Okay.
It's Vandy. Imagine every week you're going up against a Godzilla or King Kong, because that's what Vandy has to deal with. And I don't want to sit here and act like Vandy doesn't have expectations.
There is no
You have expectations as a Vandy fan, or you get fired. Or why even hire somebody? Vandy, national champions in baseball, elite program in golf. Vandy has elite sports, but the reason it's the hardest job because James Franklin won 8 games. You can win there, but you're in the SEC. You have academic structures that you can't get certain guys. You are handicapped in the SEC, and Vandy fans have expectations for their programs. I will not sit here and believe that Vandy fans are okay with getting their ass kicked every week in and every week out. I think
it's gotten to the point where Vandy has gotten beat up so much they're numb to it.
No, I don't think so.
Blaine, I understand that Vandy fans will have some sort of expectation. If Vandy this year in football wins 3 games or 4 games, They'll be happy.
I don't think so.
They'll be
I do
happy
not believe
compared to what's been going on.
They've tasted greatness. They were
tasted
decent
great
with Coach Mason.
What is
with
there a
Coach
chef
Franklin.
that works
You
there?
win. You win 8 games. I mean, Vandy fans, you should at least expect 6 games to win. At least 6 games in the season.
Listen.
And if you want anything less than that, then get out. And it's unfair because 1, it's private. It's the only private school in the SEC. 2, you have academic
That should make it easier being the only private school. You make your own rules.
Resourcing, they don't give it to them. They don't give it to resourcing. They have academic structures that they are just handicapped all the way. Imagine being the hardest conference in college football and not be able to recruit the same kids as everybody else. You want to talk about a hard job? You want to talk about a hard job to go coach at? Because I will refuse to sit here and say that Vandy fans are fine with just going belly up and losing every week. I would be sick to death and want to win every game if I'm a Vandy fan. Because you watching baseball, tearing kids apart, golf, guess what? It's a birdie. We're finishing first or second. I'm not going to sit here as a fan, even as an Auburn fan. We have unrealistic expectations, right?
I don't think that's
We have unrealistic
wait a minute,
expectations. If you're an Auburn fan and you think you're going to win the national championship, you are out of your mind. There is a 0% chance Auburn wins a national championship this year. I am not
here.
So-
This year,
yeah.
but they could. They
could. That's fine. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Vandy fans do not have expectations, that their expectations are lower than everybody else.
So wait a minute. So you're saying that Auburn fans have unrealistic expectations that they think they're going to win a national championship, which to me is the only way you can survive in the jungle when the 2 people that you care about the most, Georgia and Alabama, are hitting it every year. If you go in that mindset of, oh, well, it's just us, it's going to be okay, maybe we can win, maybe we can just hope to win, please, Papa, give me another coin, please, Daddy Saban, oh, please, Daddy Smart, don't do this to me.
So Vandy fans don't want to win?
That's okay.
So Vandy fans don't want to win? They don't want to win.
Point.
They don't want to win. You're fine 2 games. That's fine. That's fine. Just win 2 games. That's all your expectations should be.
My whole point
That's what it should be.
is if you're going to say Vandy fans should have expectations of winning 6 games this year, then don't call Auburn fans nuts for thinking they should win the national championship.
So it's just as crazy
and it
this
makes
year.
no sense.
It's just as crazy as this year. Which is crazier? Auburn winning a natty or Vandy winning 6 games?
I think Vandy winning 6 games.
Is crazier.
Yes.
That's crazier.
Have you seen that roster?
Auburn might finish last in the SEC West.
And be a whole hell of a lot better than Vandy.
I don't know.
I did not know you possess so much passion for the Commodores.
You damn right I
Anchor
do.
down.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a hard job? Walk into the SEC recruit with both hands tied behind your back.
Yeah, the academic standards is a great point. But
Must be tough.
Hey everybody, if you like what you're hearing, go ahead and ring that bell. We're excited to be here. It's Crain and Company live 2 to 3 Central daily. Ring that bell. I want to hear it from coast to coast.